Daddy changed. The episode begins with Daddy Pig coming home late from work. He looks tired but says, "It's been a long day. I'm going to get some rest." Mummy Pig pats his shoulder while Peppa and George notice something dark under his fingernails. Dirt or something else. Daddy Pig goes to bed and the rest of the family stays up watching TV. The next day, Daddy Pig seems even more tired. His skin looks pale and his eyes are bloodshot, as though he hasn't slept. At breakfast, he refuses his favorite meal, bacon and eggs. Instead, he stares longingly at the raw meat Mummy Pig is cooking. "Daddy, are you okay?" Peppa asks. "Just hungry," he replies with a smile that looks unnervingly unnatural. Later in the day, Peppa notices that Daddy Pig no longer laughs his signature chuckle. Instead, his laugh sounds low and guttural, almost like a growl. Peppa Pig, the shadow in the mirror. One morning, Peppa Pig woke up in her cozy room, but something felt off. The room seemed a little darker than usual, and her reflection in the mirror looked strange. Peppa walked up to the mirror to fix her hair and noticed that her reflection moved, just slightly slower than she did. She blinked, but her reflection didn't blink back. "That's weird," she mumbled, but quickly shrugged it off, thinking she was just tired. All day, Peppa felt uneasy. While playing with Susie's sheep, she suddenly heard someone whisper her name. She turned around, but no one was there. Her friends laughed and played, but to Peppa their laughter sounded distant, like it was coming from another room. That evening, just before bed, she glanced at the mirror again. This time, her reflection smiled at her, a wide, sinister grin she definitely wasn't making. "Who are you?" Peppa whispered. "I'm you," the reflection replied, even though Peppa's lips hadn't moved. Peppa stumbled backward as her reflection stepped forward, out of the mirror. Now there were two Peppas. One was her normal self, and the other was strange, with dark eyes and a wicked smile. The other Peppa began to laugh, a low, raspy laugh, and said, "You've been good for too long. Now it's my turn." What followed was a series of unsettling events. The sinister Peppa began to act out, breaking George's toys, scaring Mummy and Daddy Pig with strange noises at night, and even drawing a creepy, unsettling picture on the wall of their bedroom. "It's not me, it's my reflection," Peppa cried, but no one believed her. Over time, Peppa started to wonder if maybe she really was losing her mind. Or worse, if the evil double had already replaced the real her. The episode ended mysteriously. The sinister Peppa stood smiling in front of the mirror, but in the reflection, there was no one there. Peppa Pig, the new friend. One sunny morning, Peppa and George were playing in the garden when a strange piglet approached them. He had pale gray skin, odd eyes with a reddish tint, and a quiet, muffled voice. "Hi, I'm Simon," he said with a smile. "Hi, Simon." "Do you want to play with us?" Peppa asked cheerfully. Simon nodded, but his smile seemed a little off to Peppa. George also looked uneasy, but they decided Simon was just their new friend. At first, they played harmless games. Simon suggested hide and seek, but chose the strangest hiding places, like behind the trees where no one ever hid. When George tried to find him, he suddenly heard a whisper behind him, even though Simon should have been far away. "It's just a game," Simon said, stepping out from the shadows. By evening, things got even stranger. Simon asked to stay for dinner, and Mummy Pig invited him to join. "Are you from the next village?" Mummy Pig asked. "I'm from far away," Simon replied quietly, not taking his eyes off his plate. During dinner, he hardly ate, and instead stared at everyone, especially Peppa. After the family went to bed, Peppa noticed Simon still standing in the garden, staring at the house. The next day, Simon came back. He started inviting Peppa and George to play unsettling games. One game was called Look into the Dark. Simon led them into a dark corner of the shed and said, "Look closely. You'll see something interesting." But instead of something fun, Peppa felt a chilling cold, and Simon's shadow in the darkness seemed to move on its own. One evening, Peppa heard whispering outside her bedroom door. She cautiously peeked out and saw Simon standing in the hallway. His eyes were now glowing red. "Peppa, come with me. We'll be best friends forever," he whispered. Terrified, Peppa called for her parents, but when they arrived, Simon was gone. The next day, George disappeared. All they found was his toy dinosaur, abandoned in the garden. Simon appeared again and said, "Don't worry, he's with me. He's happy." Peppa realized Simon wasn't a friend, but something far more sinister. She tried to make him leave, but he just smiled and said, "You're next."